everyone, Nicole here for Fit Me Fitness. Welcome to Fitness Fridays. Today we're going to talk about the proper form for squats. Squats are a great exercise to work into your workout program. They are multi-joint and structural. With a structural exercise like squats, when you're pushing against gravity while holding a weight, whether it's on your back, on the front, above your head, it doesn't matter. You can work on building bone density in your legs. You also work on your very deep core, your transverse abdominis. Your deep core is very important for everyday activities. Things like just standing up straight and having proper posture. It helps hold your spine up. It helps when you're doing other heavy lifts to be able to tighten your core, compress down, and lift a bar. Also, squats obviously work on the quads, and they're just all around great exercises. There's all different types of squats that you can do. There's bodyweight squats, back squats, front squats, overhead squats. There's sumo or plie squats. There's narrow squats. There's one-legged or pistol squats. The list goes on and on. Also, squats are used in some more complex Olympic lifts, such as the squat snatch or the squat clean. When most people think about doing a squat, they think about just sitting straight down with their feet nice and forward and parallel. The problem with this, as you can see as I go down, is if you sit straight down, your knees end up tracking over your toes, and this can create what's called a shearing force in your knees. If you continue to squat like that, you will eventually have knee problems. Instead of just sitting straight down, it's very important that we pull our hips back. When I'm talking about pulling your hips back, it's just a small motion of pulling basically your butt straight backwards. Before you start a squat, you want your hips to come straight back first. Another thing that you have to watch for is proper foot position. As you can see, I am wearing my proper footwear today. For women especially, we have to be careful that our knees do not dive in towards one another, that they do not look like this when we squat. A good way to go ahead and correct that is to turn your toes out slightly and think about pushing your knees outwards. As you push your knees out, they track the same way as your toes, but notice that they are not over my toes. So proper form looks just like this. Pull your hips back, push your knees out, and sit straight into it. It's also a myth that you shouldn't squat lower than 90 degrees. It's actually much better for you, if you can, flexibility-wise, to squat so that your butt drops below your hips. What you have to watch, though, as you squat lower and lower, is the phenomenon called the butt wink. Sorry for the odd and funny term, but it's the easiest way to describe it. What happens when you squat too deep is your hips won't be able to take the pressure anymore, so what will happen is they will pull under, and thus your butt will be towards the front and will be winking at you, which you do not want. This is a butt wink. Now watch again when I have my proper form, that my hips do not tilt forwards. When teaching my clients how to squat, I always teach them how to squat against the wall. When doing this, you can practice that pull back of your hips while you have something that tells you how far you're coming back. This is a great way to keep practicing so that you don't hurt yourself and you have proper form when you're doing back squats or front squats or any kind of squat with weight. You want your feet to be 6 to 8 inches away from the wall, and your goal is to pull your hips back, pull your hips back, pull your hips back until you touch the wall. Now, as you go to squat down, Don't remove your hips from the wall, just slide straight down the wall and slide back up. And then try it again. The more you do this at home, the better your squats will be, and you will have proper form and you won't have to worry about hurting yourself with weight. So now I'm going to show you a couple different variations like I talked about earlier of the squat. There's what I was doing earlier, which is just a body weight squat. You can do these with your arms, bring them up in the air, you can leave them down to your sides, you can put them right in front of you, whatever you're most comfortable with. But this is a body weight squat or an air squat. Now when you get into squats with weights, your basic squat is a back squat. If this were your barbell, the bar would be sitting right on your back. You want your elbows pointed down. Good posture, chest up, head up, look straight in front of you. Pull your hips back and squat down. When pushing up, when doing a back squat, you want to push from your lower back and your hamstrings. Another variation with the bar is called a front squat. With a front squat, of course, the bar sits on your front. This is your front racking position. Front squats are a little tricky because you can't really lean forward at all, otherwise you'll dump the weight. So you want to sit up nice and tall and squat straight down. If you're not ready to use a barbell but you want to work on front squats, you can do front squats with kettlebells as well. You rack your kettlebells. Kettlebells always face out, palms always face in. And same idea. Pull your hips back, sit nice and straight up, and squat down. This is just another variation of a front squat. You can also use kettlebells or dumbbells to do what's called a goblet squat. You hold the weight right in front of your chest, and it's kind of the same concept of a front squat, except you're using a little bit less weight. Sit up nice and straight, pull your hips back, sit down into it, and stand back up. One of the hardest variations with squats are overhead squats. They're harder because you're holding a bar with weights as far away as you possibly can from where you're moving. Here's what an overhead squat looks like. We hold our arms nice and wide, engage the lats and the shoulders. Again, good posture, stand up nice and straight, sit back on your hips, straight down, straight back up. Now, as I said before, there are such things as Olympic lifts that have squats in them. I'll show you a quick one real quick here, but these are extremely hard and are a lot of movement. It's upper body work and lower body work. So definitely take your time to work into these. This is called a squat snatch. All right, guys, that's all for me today. I hope you learned something about proper squatting form. Thanks so much for tuning in again. Have a great weekend.